This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just
This is
stop. A sham.
Welcome, y'all, to Daily Blast Live. It's Thursday, December 2nd. I'm Tori, in for Jeff today. I'm here with Erica and Al.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I was trying to do an Erica
You
dance
got some
move,
energy.
and it didn't look good. It didn't look good. All right. Okay, let's just start. Did you see that? It was
We all saw it.
Something was bad there. All right, let's start with Alec Baldwin. He's speaking out about the shooting on the set of his movie Rust that, remember, killed cinematographer Helena Hudgens. So Alec is now claiming he did not pull the trigger, contradicting witness statements and what Baldwin originally told officers. Take a look.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never. Someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property.
I'm glad he did that, and I'm hopeful that we can all work it out, but it looked very produced to me with the music and the tears and all that. He did tell the original detectives he fired the gun, but didn't pull the trigger. So he's trying to kind of get in there with semantics and strategy of maybe the gun went off and trying to distance himself. Do we believe him? Do we care?
You know, I wasn't quite, I feel like the semantics of how the gun actually discharged likely has something to do with, like we were saying, culpability. Like, what would he be responsible for?
Right.
I'm not surprised that the language could change from the actual time of the incident to now, because if you've ever been in a traumatic situation, things get blurry.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's just the truth. I've never believed that this was an intentional shooting murder.
Right.
So I think when we're starting to break down this case, it just gets a little like, well, what's the end game here?
Right. What were we trying to do?
I think the end game is negligence. And you get negligence when you have human beings involved. And it's beyond tough. It's hard to fathom that somebody's lost their loved one, their mother, their spouse. But at the same time, we do have to, I think maybe our energy would be better used figuring out how this happened and preventing it from happening in the future, rather than it taking this weird turn where now we're doing kind of these dramatic interviews and
the tears.
You know, there's twisting of language, and like you have to because you need to defend yourself. But I mean, I don't think anybody's like, I want to see him do jail time because I think he's a killer or he intended to do this. So when we're not talking about that, then we need to talk about how to prevent this and how to make this the people that were affected by this whole as much as we can.
Yeah, I mean, this feels very publicist to me and lawyerly and strategy, and that's fine. You do have to do that.
Well, he's in the court of public opinion right now before he goes to real court.
Right, and it's like play the game, go to ABC, do it with the George Stephanopoulos. But my thing is, why was the live round ever on there?
That's the question.
That's the biggest question there. And apparently right after, someone shook the cartridges and some didn't rattle. And that's the feeling that some were live.
Well, what happened to the story about them going out using those same guns to shoot at cans?
Correct, and like do clinking, I think, is
Right.
clinking
We
is what it's called.
we heard that day one and then never mentioned again.
And
Very
remember,
strange.
this particular gun had safety problems with 2 discharges before. So there's a lot of issues here, but this seems like a planned way to distract. We'll see how it goes in the upcoming weeks and months. Let's talk about Tom Brady. Best quarterback ever. Am I bothering Rob? Yeah, he hates him. All right. Tom Brady.
He is, though.
He is. Tom Brady's revealing what his wife, Gisele Bündchen, thinks about his son following in Tom's footsteps. So on a recent podcast, Tom talked about watching his alma mater, the University of Michigan, woo, the Blue, hail to the victors, beat Ohio State with his oldest son, Jack. So have a listen.
I had a little future Wolverine, my son Jack, sitting on the bed with me as I was jumping around and we were wrestling on the bed. And I said, that's where you're going to be. You're going to be in the big house someday. You're going to be the starting quarterback for Michigan. And my wife was like, just let him be what he wants to be, for God's sakes.
If I were Tom Brady's son, the last thing in the world I'd want to do is be the quarterback at the University of Michigan, only because you'll never be as good as Tom Brady.
Well, you don't know that.
It's like I feel like the chances are the money. If I had to put money on it, it's a lose-lose.
I see, like, I mean, there's been a lot of examples of this, like from Michael Jordan to LeBron, and I know you were, I don't want to step on your point.
No, please,
I know
please,
you
please.
were.
No, please, talk about it.
But I also see the differences in how the kids also participated in their destiny. You know, like, I look at LeBron James' kids or Dwayne Wade's kids, and like there's been this active thing. You know, you see them like Kobe and his daughter.
Yeah, I was thinking of his
You know,
daughter, too.
there was this pull for them to follow in that legacy, and I think that's very different than a lot of kids, especially before social media and all that, where everyone knew what you were doing, who were just kind of like, well, of course you're going to go and you're going to play basketball or football at D1 school, and of course you're going to go to the league because it's in your genes. And then we're like, oh, it can't just be in your genes. Your genes have to do some work.
Yeah, right. And you have to love it. Like, what if you don't like football and you're Tom Brady's son?
Yeah, take the football out and put in being a cop. There's some people who are like, every man and woman in this family has served in the military or has been a cop or a firefighter or a mechanic. And here comes Erica like, I want to be on the radio. And they're like, I don't think you heard me. You're gonna take over the shop when I retire. And I think a lot of people like, I want to have my own path, and I respect what you do, but that's not what I want to do. But also, then you have the kid that's this age now. And it's like, well, I want to spend time with my dad. Whether your dad be Kobe or Michael or Tom Brady or LeBron, where's your dad gonna be at? The field, the practice facility.
Right.
So guess where you're gonna be.
Right.
So it's kind of this weird thing where you can see where a kid can get pulled down that path, but also the media is just waiting to just take you apart, like you're never going to be as good as your dad. Can you imagine the tweets that people, that these kids get?
Going to the big house and being like the son of Tom Brady, I just think it would be really, really difficult. But Michigan is the best school. Anyway.
One win in the last 9. That's big.
Did we beat Ohio?
You did.
Yeah, we did. Designer Tom Ford has something to say about dinner party etiquette. So I want to know what you guys think about this. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal magazine, Tom said he has an issue at dinner parties where couples want to sit next to each other. He said for him, the whole point is to sit next to someone new. So when you get home, you can dish about them to your partner. Dinner party queen, I bow down.
You talking to me?
I'm not. I'm talking to Erica. You agree she's the dinner party queen?
Absolutely. She has a gift for putting on events. You do.
A God-given gift.
Thanks,
Tell us about this planning of the table seating. Do you believe in separating couples?
I prefer to put couples together, and then, like, if it's one table, I'll put couples together next to a couple that maybe they don't necessarily know as well.
Okay.
If it's multiple tables, then I'll generally put couples in, like, 4 different couples or whatever it is. I'll put them together with all people that they don't know.
Got it.
But I think it's important that people have a comfort when they're anywhere. And some people, you know, you might have a super extrovert partner, and then the other one is a complete introvert, and they are like wiltering. You don't want someone to be uncomfortable at a party.
That's a
so
good
I can
point.
understand the sentiment, but I do think the pairings and like each pair should kind of commingle amongst each other.
They're a unit.
Yeah,
They're a
just
unit. You
Really
agree?
quickly, just listening to Erica talk, if you want to know the difference between she and I, like she's talking about putting people at different tables. My girl, 10 minutes before people show up, be like, where are people sitting? I'd be like, I thought everybody's just going to stand in the kitchen. So, like, that's why your parties are always going to be better than mine.
And that's why we don't go to Al's house. All the hosts.
I'll be ready for you this year. Everybody's going to have chairs and everything.
We don't want to stand. We want to go to Erica's place with table mats. That's right. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Vanna White. What's the key to winning big on Wheel of Fortune? Well, Vanna tells us. And will Jussie Smollett's defense hold up? Well, the testimony that claims Jussie instructed the brothers how to throw fake punches. But before we go to break, Dave Grohl is honoring Jewish singers for 8 days of Hanukkah. So here's his cover of Barry Manilow's Copacabana.
Copacabana, the hottest spot north of Havana, at the Copacabana.
Closed captioning provided by
It's so easy.
We have an update, everyone. We just heard the Santa Fe sheriff is fighting back and saying to Alec Baldwin, you can't not pull the trigger if you fire the gun. So he's saying whatever you did caused that gun to go off. But notice what we're all doing now. We're in the weeds. We're in the details. That's what defense attorneys love to do, because we're not talking about where's the live round and who's going to jail. We're talking about, like, did he pull it? Was there force? Was there pressure? This is what defense attorneys, like, live for. Like, think of OJ. It was all the detail. And then you sort of forget the whole situation.
Right.
So
I don't like the idea, and I didn't like this with the Travis Scott situation, with the police and firefighters coming on and giving
their opinions.
Their opinion.
Yeah.
That's not in a court of law. I didn't like that when the fire marshal at the Travis Scott concert was like, oh, it's his fault. It's like, that's not what
That's not due process.
Like, when you have a press conference, it should be boring. It's really just what you know. There are two victims. One is unresponsive. One is under 18, so we cannot give their name. That's all we know at this point. They should be boring. They shouldn't be like, let me tell you something. Erica, was it like the police sergeant on television saying that?
I know.
Can change people that could be potential jurors.
But what if you are the Santa Fe Sheriff's Department and Alec Baldwin's kind of throwing you under the bus?
That's fine.
I think that's the issue. And even when you're talking about the Astroworld tragedy, the first people that were looked at were the fire department. They were the first responders. And so some of those quotes came out of direct responses. Why wasn't this, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And one of the first quotes was, we met with Travis and his team before to discuss our safety concerns. So it's not as though that particular thing was unwarranted. That was a response to a direct accusation.
Yeah.
Welcome back to DBL. All right, we're finally hearing from one of the Nigerian brothers at the Jussie Smallett trial. So Jussie, if you don't remember, is accused of staging a homophobic and racist attack on himself back in January 2019. So yesterday, one of the men involved in that attack, Abel Osundaro, told the court Jussie told him to punch him, but not too hard, just enough to give him a bruise. He agreed to go along with the hoax in hopes that Jussie would help him with his acting career. He also said Jussie wanted another man involved, so he roped his brother into the scheme. There was also some talk on the stand about whether or not Jussie and he were going to be in a relationship, and this was something he had to do to be part of that. He said they were just friends. So do we believe the Nigerian brother? Do we believe Jussie? Is this going well at all for Jussie Smollett? I'll just say it straight up. I don't believe Jussie Smollett. I don't.
I think you speak for a lot of people.
This is just so bizarre. And what does, if they were going to be in a relationship or not, have to do with anything?
Yeah, apparently the cross-examination was saying, did you do this because he promised that maybe you guys could go out or something? He said no. They were trying to allege something with some relationship between them and to establish their connection. But so far, he's just saying, no, we were just friends and I wanted help with my acting career. And he told me to just punch him, but not too hard.
This is just like beyond strange. The entire thing is beyond strange. And I think, you look at what they're alleging Jussie's motive could have been, and the idea that he wasn't being seen or being protected in an environment that he trusted to protect him.
Right.
We can all understand that on some level at some point. But to take matters into your own hands in this way is never going to end well for you. You will always hurt yourself before you'll hurt anyone else. And you have to have faith in the systems that are put in place because they're put in place for a reason.
So do you think he can come back from this? Let's say he's found guilty. Let's say he created this and it's a hoax and we find that happens. And do you think Jussie can come back if he admits, Al, yes, I did this?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't think he's famous enough to, if he was a person that was beloved and an icon, and he had this body of work that was impeccable, and then he had this one major mistake, I could see people forgiving him. But this is something that the gay community may be like, Thanks, bro. For the next 10 years now, every time a hate crime is committed, we will be questioned.
That's right.
Because of your selfish decision. You were already on the television show. You were already living your best life, people's wildest dreams. You were living it, and it still wasn't good enough for you. So now, every time somebody's attacked and says that I was beaten up, people are going to be like, oh, is this just like another case? So he's going to have so much hate, and I just don't know if he'll be able to come back from this, but people have done it before, so
they have.
We'll see.
Yes, absolutely. All right, coming up on DBL, Vanna White reflects on her years with Pat Sajak and Alex Trebek. You don't want to miss our interview with the Wheel of Fortune icon. That's coming up next.
Online about President Joe Biden potentially nominating Vice President Kamala Harris to the Supreme Court. Those rumors were reported in an article published by CNN. The article says, quote, that chatter has already reached the top levels of the Biden orbit, according to one person who's heard it, unquote. In the days after the CNN report was published, there were thousands of mentions of Kamala Harris and Supreme Court across Facebook and Twitter, according to CrowdTangle, a public insights company owned by Facebook. Verify has not been able to confirm whether that claim is true, but we can answer if it's possible. So let's verify. Can a sitting vice president be nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court? Our sources are the U.S. Constitution, records from the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives, and 2 constitutional law experts. There are few restrictions on who can become a Supreme Court justice. The Constitution lists no age or citizenship restrictions, and you don't even have to practice law or even have a law degree. The only restriction for being nominated to the Supreme Court is an impeachment or a conviction that bars you from any federal office. In an email to Verify, Erwin Chemerinsky, dean of Berkeley Law School, said, quote, I do not see any impediment to a sitting vice president being nominated for the Supreme Court, unquote. Jeffrey Stone, law professor at the University of Chicago, added that if a sitting VP were confirmed to the Supreme Court, they would have to resign as vice president. According to records from the U.S. House and Senate, neither a sitting VP nor a past VP has been nominated to the Supreme Court. But we can verify that, yes, it is possible for a sitting vice president to be nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. We've all heard the expression hostess with the mostest, but our next guest really embodies that term. You know her best as the co-host of Wheel of Fortune for over 40 years, the Vanna White. That's today's Chatting with the Stars.
Welcome to DBL, Vanna White.
Yes.
Hey.
Vanna, what's it like being an icon? 40 years on Wheel of Fortune.
You know what? I grew up in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I still feel like I'm that person. So it hasn't really changed that much as far as my upbringing and the way I raised my kids and stuff. But it is weird to walk into a grocery store and there you are on the cover of a magazine at the checkout line, you know, especially when Newsweek, when I was on the cover of that, it's like, wow, I think I've made it.
You made it.
I think you've made it. It looks that way. Yeah, I have to tell you, one of the biggest indicators for me is when you're a part of cemented in history and pop culture. You received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Literally
what was it
cemented.
like? Yes, receiving it with Pat Sajak and Alex Trebek alongside you.
Yes, it was incredible. When I first moved to Hollywood in 1980, I walked down Hollywood Boulevard on those stars, and I said, one day, I'm going to have my own star. So it was really special to receive that star.
I mean, what a life, what a career you've had. And speaking of an incredible career, the late, great Mr. Alex Trebek, you guys had a great long history. Are there any stories that you could share with our audience that, you know, could just make us think of Alex, because we really love him on this show?
You know what you see is what you get. He was down to earth. He was real. I just remember us being on airplanes together, and I'm crocheting and he's reading his book, and it's just easy. It was almost like he's just family.
Well, speaking of family, that's what we are on this panel. We've been together for basically 5 years, every day, thousands of live shows together. We hang out after the show. So I can't imagine what it's like with you and Pat. So, like, how's that relationship? You guys have been together 5 times now.
Tell us the truth.
You know what? He is like a brother. He really is. And in all these years, we've only had one argument, and that was over putting ketchup on a hot dog.
And who won that argument? What was your stance on that argument?
Well, I'm sticking to my ketchup on the hot dog.
Oh, girl,
how about you guys?
Is Pat from Chicago?
It's a stadium mustard.
Of course he's from
It's stadium mustard. It's
Yes,
got to be
he's
there.
from
No, Chicago. You can't put ketchup on a hot dog.
That's the number one indication that you're from Chicago.
Yeah.
The argument about, like, why would you put ketchup on a hot dog? You're speaking to 2 Chicagoans here, Vanna, just for context, okay?
I thought Pat was born in the Wheel of Fortune studio.
Well, Wheel of Fortune ranks as one of the longest running game shows with over 7,500 episodes. So what's your favorite part of the job?
It's a half hour of family fun. You turn on the TV and there's all kinds of negative stuff going on. When you put on Wheel of Fortune, you watch people win. It's happy. It's family. And it's been around forever. You know, generations watch this show, from 100-year-olds to babies. So it's just a half hour of family fun. Can't get enough of it.
Vanna, do you ever play along with the contestants, like you know the answer and you're kind of coaxing them into it? Have you ever had that moment, like, it's Africa?
No, just mentally, especially in the bonus round when, you know, I know what the puzzles are, and I'm thinking, call a B. I'm not saying anything out loud. I'm just sending it to them in my head.
If you could give anybody going on Wheel of Fortune one piece of advice right before they started, what would you tell them?
5 vowels.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to tell my kids that.
Before we wrap, I have to know, you have been such a big part of pop culture. Who is someone that's a part of pop culture on the rise now that you see yourself in them?
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you know, I'm kind of twisting this around, but I grew up wanting to be Dolly Parton. She is such an inspirational woman. She's kind, she's honest, she's real. So I wanted to follow in her footsteps. So she was my idol growing up. And I still love her to this day.
You have walked in Dolly's footsteps, so well done. It's been a pleasure to watch your career.
Thank you.
What a treat, Vanna. What a treat. DBL Nation, as always, you can tune into Wheel of Fortune weeknights on your local station. And you can even stream it on Netflix now. Vanna's everywhere. Thank you so much, Vanna.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
We'll be right back, everybody.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Are you on?
On November 26th, the World Health Organization announced a new, highly mutated COVID-19 variant of concern, which they named Omicron. The WHO says the new variant was first reported to the organization by South Africa. The same day, the U.S. Department of State announced a travel ban for South Africa and several other neighboring countries. Since then, the term South Africa variant has been a popular search on Google to find information about the Omicron variant. The South African government has pushed back against claims that the variant originated in South Africa. So let's verify. Did the World Health Organization say the Omicron variant originated in South Africa? Our sources are the World Health Organization, the government of Botswana, and South Africa's Department of Health. The WHO said the Omicron variant of COVID-19 was first reported to the organization by South Africa on November 24th, based on a sample collected earlier that month. The governments of South Africa and Botswana later confirmed that cases of the Omicron variant have been detected in foreign visitors to Botswana on November 11th. Since then, multiple agencies have reported instances of the Omicron variant in their country, but its origins remain unknown. The delay between Omicron's earliest confirmed infection and the date it was first reported to the WHO by South Africa has to do with the process of sequencing the variant's genome and identifying its mutations. Now that scientists from South Africa have shared the variant's genome with global health officials, other countries are able to identify the variant with tests and in past samples of the virus. The Director General of the WHO says as of December 1st, at least 23 countries have reported cases of the Omicron variant so far. So we can verify, no. The World Health Organization did not say the Omicron variant originated in South Africa.
For as long as the COVID vaccine has been around, experts have urged wealthy countries like the U.S. to share their doses with poorer nations. And it's not just an act of charity. The World Health Organization says everyone will still be at risk for COVID so long as there are parts of the world that are largely unvaccinated. The virus is still spreading rapidly in some countries and mutating as it does. It may be how we ended up with Omicron. Scientists in South Africa say it has at least 30 mutations, more than we've seen with other variants. Experts at Duke University say Southern Africa has become a super incubator for new strains of COVID because countries there are struggling to get enough vaccines. So far, the U.S. has contributed the most doses to the global vaccine effort, pledging to donate 1.1 billion doses. Still, experts say that may not be enough. Moderna is mobilizing hundreds of workers to start researching the Omicron variant of COVID. They say if needed, a reformulated version of their vaccine could be ready for rollout in early 2022. That's a quick turnaround because researchers are no longer working from scratch. This vaccine would just be a modified version of the one they already have, tweaked to combat Omicron's specific mutations. And it's still not a guarantee we need a special shot at all. Researchers are still trying to figure out how effective our current vaccine is against this new variant. They say it's highly likely the vaccine already offers at least some protection from Omicron.
Always good to be back here, Steph. What do you have for us today?
Hey, Jeff. First up, we've got Vision greets one smart video doorbell. So this deal includes one doorbell with bracket, one chime, one USB cable, and tools to install it. Normally, it's $150, but right now, Jeff, we've got it for only $49, saving up to 67%. Now, Jeff, I have to tell you about this deal. We've got the RBX heated Shiatsu massage pillow. So this deal includes one massage pillow, one wall power adapter, one car charger, and a 1-year warranty. So normally, this is $90, but right now we've got it for $25, saving 72%. Now, Jeff, we've got Tahari designer knit ponchos. So this deal includes one poncho, and we've got it in 3 different colors, black, tan, and navy, and it's available in one size that will fit most. So normally, these are $48, but right now they're only $19, saving our viewers 60%. All right, last but certainly not least, we've got Bo Nico 1-gallon ultrasonic humidifier. So this deal includes one humidifier, and the best bit, it's whisper quiet, so you can still get a peaceful night's sleep. And normally, this is as much as $110, Jeff, but we've got it just for DBL viewers for $59, which means they're saving 46%.
Thank you so much, Steph. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even visit morningsave.com on your smartphone. Thank you so much, Steph.
I like humidifiers because it's so dry. Everything's cracking.
It's very dry in Colorado.
And I'm shocking myself everywhere.
And I also like the sound. It puts me to sleep.
It does. DBL's new every day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.